Live. What is going on, everybody? RogersBase here. Hello and welcome to my unspoiled, thankfully, live reaction to One Piece manga chapter 1159. I have been dodging spoilers left and right for this one, utilizing my full observation hockey. Obviously, I've been live a lot this week. Next week, I'm out of town. I'm busy recording a bunch of stuff for you guys. This week, Silk Song came out. I basically couldn't be off social media. There was a lot of stuff happening, but we made it. We're here. We're finally going to read the chapter. Once again, big ups to everybody who managed to keep me unspoiled. I'm actually like super lucky too, because I went to a Shonen Jump event like 2 days ago, and there were a bunch of One Piece fans going up over there and like saying hello to me, and I was so worried that one of them was going to say something about this chapter, and I was going to be like, no, I'm waiting till Sunday as always. But we made it. We're here. We're good. Nice to see everybody in here. Welcome. I'm feeling great. Let's do this. One Piece manga chapter 1159. This one is titled The Island of Fate. And like I said, the way people have been hyping this chapter up, the way people have been talking about this chapter, I feel like this is going to have to be a good one. If I can make one prediction at the beginning of this, before we go to the end, I feel like this has to be God Valley, right? That has to be it. This has to be like the beginning of God Valley. I don't know what else realistically could like make people as hype as they were, but I was getting spoiler warnings all the way back on Monday of last week. So we're getting right into this. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Satwick and Flipdo, who became members before we even started the stream, and Sean Stewart becoming a member before we started the stream, and to Sean Stewart for also super chatting and saying this is the best way to start a Sunday. It's One Piece Sunday, especially when it's a fire chapter. Let's go. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's see, 1159, Island of Fate. We are still in this Yamato cover story, despite the reveal of Moria. Now it seems like things are back to normal. Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 41. Time to munch on apples and return to the Flower Capital. Okay, so she's got the squad. There's Ulti, page 1. We got Yamato. We got the little fox. That's great. You know what we're here for. Let's go. You already know what we're here for. Pirate Island full of lead 39 years ago. Let's see. Did you look everywhere? Okay, wait a minute. You're right. This is not what I was expecting. Hold on. Don Marlin was on last night's security team, and they've all been killed. Even Don Marlin couldn't keep her safe. It's unthinkable. Who could have done this? There's no way we're about to see the stocks fly up for Capone. I know we made that theory a long time ago that Capone might have been the one to take him out like Godfather style. Doesn't seem to be the case. I don't think Capone is up to this. Now Rox is going, what did you say? Whitebeard saying, huh? And then of course, oh yeah, this is okay. Okay. Of course, here's the moment we have been waiting for. Ever since the reveal that Shakky was a treasure that one day would be stolen, our very own Shakky has been kidnapped. You got the thunder rumbling, you got the clouds, you got the rainstorms, you got Full Island, you got everything. The crime happened within a window of just a few hours, but without any clues to solve the mystery. We've got Wang Ji, we've got Gloriosa. The pirates could only wail and gnash their teeth in anger. I mean, Wang Ji doesn't really look like he's gnashing his teeth in anger or wailing. He looks like he's very happy about this. He's got his little caribou tongue sticking out in his little hairpiece. Gloriosa does actually look devastated, though. That's like one of the saddest looking faces Oda has ever drawn right there. Gloriosa looks in pain. And you got the rest of them all saying, please be safe, Shakky. Please. Roger ripping up the posters. Damn it, Rox. What are you doing? I'll tear you to pieces. The news swiftly crossed the seas. Oh, and this might be Rayleigh's moment where he realizes, I gotta save the love of my life. You have him reading the newspaper, Shakky, and doo-doom, big letters. All right. Smiles vanished from the faces of all the crestfallen people, and it was said that all economic activity around the world went stagnant for weeks. 1 year later, God Valley in the West Blue. Garling, I am so happy to see you. Okay, so he's actually going back and checking on his kids. Thank you, by the way, to Degenerate for becoming a member. Nakama, thank you. Saying, I always believed you would come back. Shamrock Shanks, it's your father. He's coming back for full custody. Maybe James was right with the thumbnail last week. People were commenting like crazy on James's thumbnail art last week of him holding up the picture of baby Shanks and baby Shamrock and being like, oh, look at my little kids. You had twins. They're adorable. And they're yours. Now you can live with me here. And you got them going, reaching out for their dad. Oh, if they're living anywhere, it won't be here. Scumbag Garling. This island will cease to exist soon. You already know what's happening here. I've already special ordered a wife who is befitting of me. Crazy line. All I have to do is make her mine and win this competition. Competition? So he's competing for his wife and the babies are the prize? What? And he's just shooting her, the mom. We're not even seeing her face. We're getting the death of Shanks and Shamrock's mother in silhouette. We're not even seeing her face, bro. Are you kidding me? Just a single shot. Rifle to the face. Slamming down to the ground. Actually, it looks like to her stomach because you can see the blood coming out of the middle. Landing down to the ground right next to the baby Shanks and the baby Shamrock and the baby carriage. Cold blood. Garling, begin the preparations. Yes, sir. Disembarking now. And you can see Garling on the Den Mushi. Garling, 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 Garling. I've already special ordered a wife who's befitting of me and all I have to do is make... That's crazy. So he wins the competition. He gets the wife and the kids, which are why that's crazy. The world government Navy ships are here. They've got the whole island surrounded. Is there some wanted criminal on the island? Come on, bring the children indoors. Use only tranq rounds and apprehend all those who do not resist. Okay. We're getting in there. Lieutenant Commander, what is the purpose of this operation? It's training, and you're in no position to ask questions, rookie. But sir, platoon leader, what is this kid's problem? I'm sorry, sir. I'll give him a talking to. Yo, you there, what's happening? And you can see them fall to the ground. Don't resist, just stay put. Run for it. They're arresting everybody, but why? They just look like normal civilians to me. Stop thinking. Individual thoughts distract from the will of the group. Focus on completing the mission, okay? That was Dragon? The guy saying, but sir, Lieutenant Commander. Wait, my brain shorted for a second. Hold on. That was Dragon? Because you can see his... Oh my gosh, wait a minute. That is Dragon. I didn't even see the armband. On page 6 where he's saying, Lieutenant Commander, what is the purpose of this operation? He's got the armband. Oh, that's so weird without the face tattoo. They look like normal civilians to me. Stop thinking. Individual thoughts only distract from the will of the group. Focus on completing the mission. But sir, it's fine. They're tranq rounds. I'm not killing anyone. Dragon the pacifist over here? Navy sailor. This is crazy. Navy sailor, Monkey D. Dragon, future Revolutionary Army commander, and father of Monkey D. Luffy. Bro, I'm so used to him with the face tattoo. I genuinely did not recognize him on that first page without the face tattoo. I should have known with the armband thing. But you know when you're looking at like naval soldiers, I'm reading the text first. I'm not looking at the artwork of the character. That is clearly Dragon. Bro, before you even get the Oda box. What? I mean, that makes sense that he's here. I'll keep reading. I'm going to keep reading. This is good. This is good. When you told me the Loki flashback was going to start, I did not think we were going to get Dragon stuff in this. Okay. I'm sorry about this. If you allow us to arrest you, I won't have to shoot. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm leaving the island out of my way. I do also wonder if they're actually trank rounds, because I could see a world in which Dragon shoots all these people at God Valley thinking he's tranking them and actually killed a bunch of them and is so disgusted with himself by the fact that he just killed like hundreds of civilians that he like revolts against the world government. I could absolutely positively see that being the thing that like sends him off. If they're lying to him and he's actually killing women and children like this, because you could see those two kids, they're, oh my goodness gracious. Okay. And you could see him shooting them all down. Put on your masks. We're using tear gas. And bro, this is crazy. Navy prison ship carrying slaves. Oh, and this is how Ginny and, this is how Ginny and Ivankov are getting there. Okay. Oh, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. Here we go. Navy prison ship carrying slaves. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, 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 boop. Communications room. Did I just hear someone? Bro, Ginny, you're all right. It all worked out. The intel agent should come by to get us later. Okay? Would you kids shut up? Don't ruin things for the rest of us. You know you're going to get punished too, right? Punished? You fool, we're all going to die. If you don't try to learn where this ship is going, you don't even struggle to survive. What makes you think you'll be lucky enough to make it out? Spoken like a true revolutionary right here. Let's go. Don't play games with miracles. Interesting, he's bringing up the miracle thing too, with how Ivankov was back in Impel Down. Very good. Hang on, bro. There's Kuma, little baby Kuma. The prisoners are rioting. And you got them screaming in the back. I didn't know that slaves could be so far. Whoa! Whoa! What? Oh! What? We're getting young Morgans? Young flashback big news Morgans? Are you serious? My guy? My man is going to be in the God Valley flashback? Young Morgan. Also, he still looks like a bird. If you were going to have an opportunity to show what he looks like, not in bird form, you'd show him outside of Albatross. What? Yo, what in the world? Cypherpol Intelligence Agency. Oh yeah, you heard some incredible intel. What is it this time? Don't play dumb. I know you people picked it up too. Now pay me. You want to sit on this scoop, don't ya? Hey, you got little newsboys. Newsboy, big news Morgans. A barbershop haircut across the corner. Yo, let's go, Morgans. How does some kid's local paper with a fancy name get an intel network like that? Careful or they're going to snuff you out. Just try it. Either way, I'm leaking this to full lead. Yo, Morgans, president of the World Economic Journal, back in his newsboy days. Look at all these little seagulls got their little hats on as well. This is before they have their little... Yo, I love this. I love this. Hold on. So he's going to be the one reporting the news of God Valley then? And he's going to leak? This is crazy. And then all the stuff with Shakky? Okay, you want me to sit on this scoop, don't you? Morgan's president of the World Economic Journal, bro. I cannot get over his look. That's so perfect, man. Morgans and Dragon in the same... back-to-back, too, which I think is crazy. Showing the importance of these two goats of the series right here. I love... Dude, the fact that Morgans, since his reveal in Whole Cake Island, has been so integral to the story with the stuff with Reverie and with Vivi and the leaking of the stuff in the newspaper and the X's and now this with God Valley. I love this. I love this. Morgans. All right, so we're getting to the next page. So Shakky is still alive. Are you serious? What a relief. Where is she now? God Valley? Where is that? That seems fishy. Are you sure about your source? And you've got Caribou, Wang Ji looking slimy over there. The Navy's been taking action, so it seems solid. She's a prize in the Celestial Dragon's game. So that means whoever kidnapped her was with the government? Damn. And you got Shakky in the front going, Shakky! Waving his little arms, hearts going everywhere. This is the Celestial Dragon's manhunt. I always thought that was just a tall tale. But and this is going to implement all this stuff. They've got devil fruits too, Kaido. And you wanted one, didn't you? What powers are they? These could be good for my kids too. And she's still got the little kids on her shoulder. You can see the one with the little hat on the bottom. Which one is that meant to be? I'm looking. I have to open the page all the way up. Which one is this? Who is the one with the little boiler hat? Is that meant to be like Baby Parasparrow? Who is that right there? And then we've got Streusen in the front. Are you sure it's not a trap? You got Roxy and Streusen. Shut up. If you're not committed, stay here. But the rest of us are going to God Valley. Okay. The Roger Pirates. Yo, Gabon, where's God Valley? Not close, but I'm sure we're going to make it there in time. And they're all on the boat. You got the hearts flying everywhere. Okay. We're going, right, boys? No question. Rayleigh's in the front screaming. The rest of the crew is screaming. So Rox is on the move too, huh? Well, don't let him get the jump on us. It just took the tiniest bit of classified intel. My man Morgan's literally setting off the war. We didn't think Roger would get involved here. You got to lead with that next time. I'm going. Garp is going too. All it took was the tiniest bit of classified intel to set off all the fiercest warriors of the sea. Bro, setting up Morgan's to be this important is just incredible. It's actually incredible that they're doing this. Absolutely. Thank you, by the way, to the super chats. I will be reading super chats when the series, not when the series ends, excuse me. When the chapter reaction ends and I've gone through my review stuff, I will read the super chats. I will get to them. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We didn't think Roger would get involved. Okay, here we go. It took the tiniest bit of intel to set off all the fiercest warriors of the sea. Let's go. It is a giant ship. Who cares? Sink them. You got the ships. Oh, Herald? Okay. No, wait. What is it, Rox? Don't slow us down. I was told to stop a certain pirate crew that was infatuated, I can't even speak right now, infatuated with a single woman, Rox. If we make use of our strength, it would be child's play to sink your tiny ship. Do you see that boat in the distance? We've got government monitors. And you think this is going to win you points at the world government? Bro, I think Rox is kind of on the right side of history here, if I'm being honest. I feel like him going against Harold and Harold still sucking up to the government after everything and seeing what he's seen. I'm kind of Team Rox. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, I'm kind of Team Rox. I feel like Harold should not be doing this. You think this is winning you points to the government? And you got Rox in the middle. You got Big Mom, Whitebeard, and Kaido behind him. Don't underestimate what we can do, King of the Giant Oafs. Does it please you to serve the government that sits on its comfortable perch and watches us destroy one another? I suppose it does, because you're the madman who wants to change Elbaf, no matter what. Now, can we talk in private? Okay, so they're actually agreeing to a meeting? They're not going to throw hands again? I'm sure you've heard where we're going and why. Well, I'm only going to tell you the next part. I'm only going to tell this next part to you. It's not even for my crew to hear. Okay. What is His Majesty talking about over there? And you got, what's his name again? The Silver Axe dude. Kyo? Is it Kyo? Going, well, la-dee-da. He's having a toast while my beloved Shakky is waiting to be rescued. Okay, wait. Oh, Oda's cooking. The truth is, I've got a hidden name. Davy D. Xebec. It's not Rox. It's the name of a clan that I suspect the world government has long tried to cover up. We are the descendants of the legendary pirate, Davy D. Jones. We took root in the criminal underworld and continue to eke out a living even today. So my man Blackbeard is from Davy Jones' clan. It's not just that he is like a fanboy of Davy Jones. This man is a descendant of Davy Jones. Davy D. Xebec. What in the world? So he's going to be Davy D. Teach. Yeah. Yeah, okay. My timing was either great or terrible. Because you see, 2 years ago, I had a kid. And to make sure that danger couldn't befall them both, I sent my wife and child to my homeland. I told them to seek the Davy clan for help. I see. So your kin and your wife and child are there in the homeland. Why would you admit this exploitable weakness to me? My home is God Valley. Okay. So Davy Jones and his clan come from God Valley. All right. So the government did this as a means to lure you into their clutches, and you got rocks just drinking it all down. Nah. The celestial dragons are converging on that island. They don't want me coming there. That was a miscalculation on their part. It feels as though some great act of fate is pulling all the strings behind the scenes. But kidnapping Shakky was their fatal mistake. And also interesting for him to bring that up, especially considering he knows Emu exists. He was in the throne room. He straight up said, I'll be back. Don't you worry, the clan of Davy Jones is coming back for you. Okay, kidnapping Shakky was their fatal mistake. As long as my wife and kid escape, I truly don't care about the rest. So he cares about his wife, too. Also interesting, again, showing he's a better man than Garling was. Garling straight up killing his wife. Not even his wife, his baby mama. Whoever's side fortune is on, Harold, it doesn't feel like it's mine. So lend me your aid. I refuse. I would rather sink your ship right now. That's your choice? Well, then so be it. And Garling's just like, don't attack him. Let him go. Though hard to believe, once every 3 years, the celestial dragons choose an island rich in resources and unaffiliated with the government. You have them going, you soft coward, as the ship explodes. And they carry out a manhunt game there, slaughtering all the natives. And you've got, again, the people crying and screaming. Somebody help. This can't be happening. And again, that whole thing, like, with the trank guns, they're not trank guns, and Dragon's going to find it out, I'm sure. Okay, and she's all dressed up. The day of... This is still so crazy to me. This is crazy to me that we are finally seeing all of this. The day of the God Valley incident. In addition to the rare and exotic devil fruits, we have our grand prize of the event. Hailing from the island of women within the calm belt of the Grand Line, the previous empress of the Amazons, praised as the most beautiful woman in the world, her name is Shaku Yaku. Take her for a wife or make her a slave. The decision is yours. And you got all these stupid celestial dragons saying, let's start off the great celestial dragon era, screaming, trying to get her for a wife. Whoa, she's beautiful. I want her. She was kept in pristine condition after being caught. She is truly an elite prize, and she is just stone-faced because she knows they're coming after her. She's perfect. Win her and bring her into the Shepherd family, Summers. Summers was there too! Of course he was! Of course he was! Of course he was, because they've all been living forever. Of course he was. Don't be stupid. If I win, she's going to be my slave. And meanwhile, you've got young Garling looking at young Summers saying she's going to be my wife, so stop dreaming, Summers. And Gunko! With you here, Gunko, we might win a trophy in the family competition. And once again, You've got Gunko there. Interesting that that's being brought up and bringing up the family competition. What's going on here? Interesting stuff to pack up there. Also the connections with Brooke. Brooke knowing her and all this other stuff. Like there's going to be more lore folding into this. This is good. Please, get my children off this island. Don't let him have them. Come here, Teach. It's all right. Wait. Get my children off this island. Implying multiple. Implying more than one. Unless, the they thing! With Black, wait. The way this is cut is very interesting. Because my assumption, as my chat is pointing out, is that this lady, right, is the mother of Shanks and Shamrock that was shot. That climbed her way back here, right? Climbed her way back here bleeding, huffing and puffing, and that dragon was going to save them. Don't let him have them. But now we've got Blackbeard here saying, come here, Teach, it's all right. Reaching down to baby Blackbeard. You have to live through this. Oh, no, never mind. Okay, the way this was... Okay. I was about to lose it for a second. I didn't see the other hand there. For some reason, when I saw Dragon walk in the room, it's a transition panel. Whoa, man. I almost had like a full-on heart attack live on stream. Right, it's two different shots. You see Dragon walking into the room with Shanks' mom, who was shot by Garling, who says, save my children, get them off this island, don't let him have them, talking about Garling. Right, very clear, no doubt. Which is what I thought. But then, the next panel under that, come here, Teach, it's all right. Young Blackbeard, you have to live through this. You see the chains, and it looks like womanly hands. So my assumption is that's Blackbeard's mother saying that. Okay. I'll say what I was thinking in a second, and then we're going to keep going through. Hold on. I want to read the rest of this, because it says we're on the final page. Hold on. I overcooked. Exactly. I overcooked for a moment. That was crazy. Exactly. The transition to that, especially because the line with the cross leads those two panels together, where it draws your eyes. So I was thinking, like, what? Okay. Lastly, every world noble is aware of them. In addition to the Buccaneer boy serving as a super rare rabbit in this contest, we have another target who's been found at long last after 800 years. The Davy clan. To be continued. One Piece manga chapter 1159 end. This is fire. There's a lot of good stuff here. There's the stuff with Morgans, the stuff with Dragon, the reveal of the Davy clan. There is a lot here to break down and talk about. There's little things hidden in some of these panels, like with Summers and with Gunko and their family competition. There's also no break, apparently, which is a shame because I am not going to be in the country on Sunday. I'm going to be in an undisclosed location that I literally cannot talk about until I am already there. I am under the heaviest of heavy NDAs. I cannot say where I'm going to be, but I can say that we might have an issue because I don't think I'm going to be able to live react to the next chapter. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to have to probably pre-record the next one because I'm going to be in a location that does not have internet streaming services because the NDA thing. So I will probably have to pre-record the next one and upload it as a video. Here's what I will say. Real quick. What I want to explain. This little bit with Teach. And thank you, by the way, to the super chats that came in. Thank you. Appreciate it. I will read this in a second. What I want to say. For a brief moment in time. I know this is not what it is now that I'm understanding those transition panels. For a brief second in time, when I saw Dragon talking to Shanks' mom, and I saw that next panel and you see her reaching down, I thought she was going, because you could see the arm is kind of messed up. I thought she was going over to Teach, and that it was implied that like they were half siblings. That Shanks and Shamrock and Teach were half siblings. That's obviously not the case. Clearly not the case. Because then that'd be some crazy stuff with like the D clan and then like the Davy clan and then Shanks and Shamrock and all this stuff. Because assuming it would be through the mother, but then it's through Rox, because Rox is obviously the one that heralds from the Davy clan. So it wouldn't be, but they'd be halves. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that's there. Clearly that is not the case. Clearly we are going to meet at some point, probably, Blackbeard's mother when they're hunting down the Davy clan. Because they straight up say at the very end of this, they found the other target who's been found at long last after 100 years, the Davy clan. They're going to try to find Blackbeard. They're going to try to find the mom. But the mom, again, is Davy clan by marriage or Davy clan by baby. She's not actually from the Davy clan. The descendants of the Davy clan are Rox and Blackbeard. This whole segment right here, on page 12 and 13, the truth is I've got a hidden name, Davy D. Xebec. The name of a clan that I suspect the world government has long tried to cover up. The descendants of a legendary pirate. We took root in the criminal underworld and continue to eke out a living today. I'm going to say something right now. I'm going to make a prediction for way later in the series, which realistically is not that much later in the series. It's probably like a couple years out. Remember when Oda said, when you see a certain character with an eye patch, that's how you know we're nearing the end? And a lot of us have assumed that that character with the eye patch is Joy Boy. I think, looking at this, 800 years ago, Davy clan, I kind of feel like the pirate with the eye patch is going to be Davy Jones. Because, like, what would say pirate more? Everybody knows the name Davy Jones. Even if you're not a One Piece fan, even if you don't really know, like, the history of pirates, everyone knows Davy Jones. Everyone knows Davy Jones because of things like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like that. Now, Rob brings up an interesting thing in my chat, right? That potentially Davy D. Jones is Joy Boy. They could very much be one and the same. If that is the case, that makes everything even wilder. Then all of this comes together. But also makes the potential end game. I will also say this. Hold on. My brain is going in 1,000 different directions right now. I will say this. To me, this chapter, the Davy clan, all this stuff with Xebec, this chapter to me clarified in my brain 100,000 billion% final villain is Blackbeard. Full stop. Full stop. I have never been more sure in my life that Emu will go down in Final War, that they will go to Laugh Tale, and that Blackbeard is final villain. No doubt. Because as Lucky just brought up in my chat, thank you very much, already know where I'm going, saying imagine if the final clash between them, right, is Blackbeard versus Luffy, the descendant, the actual blood descendant of Joy Boy versus the will of Joy Boy, right? What Joy Boy actually wanted to do with the world and how that got misconstrued over the years, either through government intervention, through the criminal activity of the D clan, all of this other stuff, right? That essentially that is the clash you get at the end, which also I think makes the Luffy stuff better looking at it now. Because I think there's a lot of stuff that's been like set up with Luffy in terms of like being the chosen one and the child of destiny and all this other stuff that I think was getting, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I didn't love a lot of the child of destiny stuff that was being set up. And then obviously we've got stuff with Shanks here and a bunch of different red herrings no pun intended, red hair, I mean, there's stuff that's being set up that can be read multiple different ways. But I feel like the final clash being between an actual descendant of Joy Boy, if Joy Boy was indeed Davy Jones, because we still don't know the name, versus the actual will of Joy Boy and what Joy Boy actually wanted to do, right? Which was to bring peace to the world, to take down the world government, all of this stuff. That also makes that line, dude, with Rocks in Emu's throne room saying, "I'll be back," makes it so much better. This is so good. I really think like the things that are being set up here are 10 out of 10. I see where the gears are turning. I see where Oda's going. I see the direction he's trying to move in. This is really, really good stuff. And again, I love how he's folding all these characters in. Even that one brief little throwaway panel where you get Big Mom and Kaido talking about the devil fruits that are going to be there, leading up to the stuff with Kaido eventually getting his fruit and the setting up of the Yonko and who they're actually waiting for. It's like, no. You're all small time. And then this stuff with Harold, and Harold almost being like the last stopgap to Rocks, and Rocks straight up admitting in that chapter to Harold, right on that page, on page 15, he says, whoever side fortune is on, Harold, it doesn't feel like it's mine. Interesting stuff there. And how Loki knows all of this in feeding this to us at the end. Like, we're still in the LDAP arc right now. But this is all like big picture, giant stuff in the world of One Piece. I love this. I love this. Also, again, thank you to some of these super chats. I will be reading some of these out. I'll get to them, I promise. But there's just like so much. There's so much here. Seeing the stuff with the slave kids and seeing Kuma and Ginny and Ivankov on the boat. Morgan's being the one to leak the intel. Incredible. And obviously him leaking this story is essentially what got the World Economic Journal in the good graces of everybody. This is the thing where people were like, this is somebody who can be believed. If he leaked this story to everybody, and then all the pirates are going after him, and you've got Rocks and Garp and Roger. Like, you see Garp in a throwaway panel this chapter. Just a totally throwaway panel. Saying, lead with that next time, I'm going. We didn't think Roger was going to get involved. Nothing else needs to be shown, just like he's on the way. Absolutely incredible, man. Incredible. Seeing Young Dragon and the potential setup for Young Dragon, with him being told that they're trank darts by his superior and shooting straight up, point blank, women and children. And again, he's purposely not showing some of the stuff that's going on here. You could see the smoke, but I think he's going to realize I actually killed some people. And that's going to completely turn him away. So the God Valley incident might actually be that moment. Because thinking back to everything that we know about Dragon and timelines, I'm trying to think back to everything. With the stuff with Vegapunk and O'Hara and the burning of O'Hara and how all that happened after this, he witnessed with his own eyes all the evil that the government could do in God Valley. Dragon also being the one to like potentially save Shanks and Shamrock. Super interesting stuff there. And that connection, and Shanks like visiting Luffy in the East Blue and Dragon putting him in the East Blue and like what that means for the story. Like, I see Later Storm super chatting right now saying, what's so funny is this is supposed to be Harold's flashback. Well, I think it still kind of is, which is I think what's kind of brilliant about this flashback is that it still very much is Harold's flashback. Because obviously everything is going to go down in God Valley. And Harold is going to realize he chose the wrong horse to bet on. That he shouldn't have sided with the world government because the world government is doing all this evil stuff. And then in trying to be a pacifist and trying to bring peace and trying to make the giants, you know, be seen as good, he made things worse. Which ultimately is going to be why he's going to be taken over by Emu or whatever, like whatever we're going to see where he goes, you know, Domi Reversi, or if Loki goes Domi Reversi or whatever. He still hasn't ripped his horns out. We still haven't seen more of Loki. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to see. The other thing that's being brought up here, which is fascinating, right, that Flip Dude just brought up in the chat, is we might even see Rocks survive this incident. Because we know Blackbeard survives, obviously. Maybe Harold, to atone, brings Rocks back to Elbaf. Because Rocks up and disappeared and was presumed dead after God Valley, right? But we don't actually know that. And Loki, how could Loki know all of this? Harold isn't there currently in God Valley. Rocks is there. And Loki looks up to Rocks like something crazy. So someone would have had to relay that information to him. Maybe Kuma saved Rocks. I do feel there is a high likelihood that Rocks actually does live this flashback. And somehow, some way makes it back to Elbaf. And again, he's a normal human. He's got the lifespan of someone else who's normal. He's not like one of the giants. He's going to eventually die. Or he would have been an old man by this point. But this is crazy stuff, man. Thank you again for all these super chats. I'm gonna start getting to all these. Thank you, by the way, to 4D Cliff coming through with a membership. Nakama. Greatly appreciate that. Wow. Wow. I mean, this is just incredible, man. This is just absolutely positively incredible. Before we dive too much into this, because I do want to get to some of these super chats, because I feel like a lot of my thoughts on this chapter, a lot of the small things are probably things people are going to be bringing up with super chats. Thank you, by the way, to Caesar D. Law. I'm going to start getting to him now. Real quick, before I do, though, I want to see James's thumbnail. What did he do for the thumbnail this week? Because he could do any number of things. Shout out again. These super chats are flying. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I will be getting to all of these. Jonja coming through with the membership as well. Thank you very much. Nakama. Yo, everyone's coming through now. They said, all right, review time's over, Roger. Wrap it up. You've been yapping. We got to talk to you. We got theories. We got thoughts. Welcome. We got to see the thumbnail for this week. All right, James, what did you do for the thumbnail? Let's see this. James, we still got the... Oh, he did Old Morgan's. So he's got Dragon in the front. I think this is actually smart, too, because it doesn't really spoil the Davy thing. I think this could have very easily been like a Rocks cover page that spoils something with the Davy clan. So he shows young Dragon, but knowing me, James knowing me, comes through and draws young Big News Morgans. Big News and Dragon on the front. I love this, dude. We got newsy Big News Morgans here. I love this. Keeping it nice and simple. Nice detailed picture of Dragon on in the front. Pre-tattoo. It is just really wild to see Dragon without the tattoo. Because I genuinely did not recognize him at all in the beginning when we were seeing him like talking in the God Valley stuff. Yo, having Morgans in the back is perfect, though. Having him leaking the information and Dragon in the front, this is great. Absolutely, positively great. Rob is saying James really does know Rogers so well. Brilliant. Who's the fraud in front of Morgans? He looks a little like Snake Man in this form. He does, doesn't he? He does look a little bit like Snake Man here. Oh, man. I love this. Look at his goofy little beak. I love the hat. And Dragon, man, oh, man. I guess this is the first time we've seen him as a Marine, right? This is the first time ever in the series. We've heard talk and we've speculated that at one point he was in the Marines, but I don't think we've ever actually seen him. Even when we saw that cover spread with all the young Marines, I don't think we ever saw him directly as a Marine. So this is like a momentous occasion to actually see this, to witness young Dragon. Man, good choice once again. Yeah, first time on panel that we've actually seen it. Wow, man. I mean, this is a momentous occasion. This is, if I may, this is big news. This is big news! Let's go. Getting into Dragon lore. Again, I am so curious how all this is going to come together and connect, because I do think it is connecting. I could see every little thing connecting with the stuff with the devil fruits and with Garling and Shanks and Shamrock and Blackbeard and Dragon and Morgans. It's all coming together. Again, if people thought that we weren't actually getting into Final Saga, I don't know what to tell you, but this is it, man. We are Final Saga boys now. Full stop all the way. Mohammed coming through saying, Young Dragon really does look like Snake Man. He does a little. And Bwaka saying, imagine Mosa is Rocks. That would be a goated chapter. That would actually be sick if that whole time it actually was Mosa talking to him. And then we see at the end of all this that actually Rocks is still alive. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. All right. We're going to go in the order the super chats were sent. I want to give another massive thank you once again to all the new members during the stream. Zip Skylark, Killer Feels, Nico Kaliko, Sean Stewart, Satwick256, Flipdo, Degenerate, thank you, 4D Cliff, Caesar D Law, Jonja, thank you all once again for becoming members. Nakama, if you have not already, make sure to join the Discord server, sync your membership with the Discord, get access to all those rooms. And to all of you that are not members, I want to say this before we get into these super chats, and I'm going to remind you guys again by the end. For all of you that are not members, you can still join the Discord server using my pinned comment on today's stream. I am currently in the process of putting together my annual One Piece popularity poll. You can go enter the Discord server and vote. Once you've voted in the Discord server, you get granted the voter role, so you get to stay in the Discord. Make sure you get your votes in. We are voting on the most popular characters in One Piece, your favorite characters in One Piece. And again, you do not need to be a member to vote. Anyone can vote. You just have to join the Discord at the link to get your vote in. You'll be granted the voter role, and then you'll be in there. So make sure to do that. Make sure to do that. Okay. Natsu saying we're getting God Valley on my birthday. Bro, let's go, Natsu. Happy birthday, or happy early birthday, I'm supposing. I'm assuming your birthday is going to end up being next week. So welcome. Also, I'm seeing someone saying we better not get any Garling votes. Better not. Okay. Let me open this up. We are going all the way back with these super chats. The first one comes from Tigray saying we're going to God Valley with this one, boys. To think my One Piece journey started with looking for someone to read Solo Leveling with. You've been around since the Solo Leveling days, and you managed to get into One Piece? Thank you very much, Tigray. Nakama, thank you for joining us. Solo Leveling might have fallen off, but it doesn't matter. One Piece is still going strong. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate that, Tigray. Thank you. Shout5 saying, Roger, I used to watch Alex C&D and saw your videos with him. In 2020, I then got into One Piece, and I have absolutely loved it ever since. Thank you for all the hype and all the happiness that you've brought me over all these years. Yo, all these really beautiful super chats today. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. That's so nice, Shout. We've got Ink Fight Studios coming through. I recognize that name. Saying, Roger, if Dragon saved Blackbeard's mom and the kids after the death of Rocks, could he end up having a child with her? Is it wild to think that Luffy and Blackbeard could be half-brothers? I feel like it could be possible. That would also be nuts. That would truly be wild if he has a child with Teach's mother. I almost wonder if there's a way in which Teach leaves, gets saved. It is not by Dragon, right? Gets off of God Valley, meets her separately, and then they get together and have Luffy. That would be insane. And would further push that narrative we were talking about earlier about Joy Boy and Davy D. Jones potentially, being one and the same. And the descendants of Joy Boy and Joy Boy's actual will coming to a head at the end of the story. I kind of love that. Didn't Oda say he's already drawn Luffy's mom in the series? Well, we haven't seen her, though. And realistically, we've only seen the hand of Teach. So, I partly feel like maybe the mom is going to die here, though, which is going to set Rocks off to do something that then makes the world government believe that he died here if he does actually end up surviving. But I'm not really sure. I'm not writing off the possibility, though. I feel like with where we are currently in the story and all these characters being named different things and being related to one another, I honestly think anything is possible at this point. So I won't write it off. That would be hype. We got Forever Nami saying, could the Will of D actually mean the Davy clan? Perhaps they were a found family clan and not all direct blood related, but to be considered family or crew by Davy Jones. I mean, that's also a possibility, but I feel like this whole thing of Davy D. Jones, and I always bring it back to Whitebeard's line at the end of Marineford, right? Saying, the man that Roger was waiting for was not you, Teach. Like, I think of that line again and the idea of, like, being a false D, and then maybe thinking, like, he has some type of birthright, but of being like a Davy, a Davy clan descendant, but in actuality, he doesn't carry on the real will and the real idea behind Joy Boy. And thus, he's not the man people were waiting for. I kind of love this, though. I like that. Again, I feel like the Will of D, there's so many different things. With the son and the family, there's so many different ways that it can be read. But I don't think that's a terrible interpretation at all. Yeah. I don't think it's a terrible interpretation. Also, my birthday is next week. Hey, happy early birthday, Natsu. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's keep going. We've got Rob Harley super chatting, saying, so now it's fairly obvious that Garling's discovery was the Davy clan in God Valley. So what are the chances that Shanks and Shamrock are also part of that clan? Also another thought of mine, this comes from Rob right now, saying, could it be that the Davy clan is what allows Blackbeard to eat multiple devil fruits? Like a Curse of Davy Jones type of thing? Well, again, like Davy Jones' locker, the Enemy of the Sea, Emu. There's a lot of different ways that this could connect. That would be interesting if the curse would be having multiple powers. Because again, Blackbeard's whole thing is he can't sleep still. That still has to be explained. If that somehow is going to tie in with rocks, I'm not really sure. Let's keep going through some of these and maybe we'll get a clearer answer. Boohoo super chatted and said, considering the only people to have used Davy back are Rox and Foxy, I think the idea that he might actually be Davy D. Foxy is bonkers. Bro, come on. Davy D. Foxy, we're getting crazy there. We're getting kind of crazy there. We have another super chat. This one comes from Al Cien. And people in the chat are saying, I like this theory for multiple devil fruits. Goes back to something Rob was saying and something else that was brought up earlier. It says here, what if the darkness fruit that Blackbeard has is a cover-up name for the fruit like the gum gum fruit, and that the real name of the darkness fruit is actually Davy Jones' locker, hence why he can eat more devil fruits or more souls? That basically like the souls are trapped within the darkness fruit, and that he's able to have multiple devil fruits through that, and it doesn't just negate the devil fruit powers, but then it also can consume more of them. That's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting indeed. I also want to see how Blackbeard knows ways to extract devil fruit powers. I also do want to see how he's actually physically able to do it. I mean, I don't know. I've always thought, I think this is a weird one. I thought he eats them. I thought there was something where like when he put the cloak over him and he went underneath it that he eats him. That he transforms into something and maybe eats him. But I could be wrong. But that's how I've always read it. Yeah. Let me continue. I'm sorry. Where did we leave off? We have a bunch of these super chats over here. Hold on. Boohoo came through with the Davy D. Foxy thing. Austin Smith said, I wonder if Big Mom will put Xebec's soul in Blackbeard. Like Blackbeard is injured, and then Big Mom put Xebec's soul into Blackbeard's body to save his life. Why would Big Mom care about Blackbeard at God Valley, though? Unless there's something in which, like, Rox begs her to do it to save his son. Maybe. But we've seen this time and time again from the Rox pirates. They're all out for themselves. So wouldn't Big Mom be like, screw you, I want to be Pirate King. I don't care. Forget about your kid. I don't care about your kid. I don't see a world in which Big Mom would actually go out of her way to help him. You know? If he was near death, I don't know necessarily that Big Mom would do that. But again, Big Mom being present here and having the soul fruit and having all these weird soul powers, but her also knowing Blackbeard, she has to know this, that the two of them are related. Like, Kaido and Big Mom have to know that Blackbeard is Rox's kid. They have to know. Stussy even picked up on it. Stussy knew when she was talking to Whitebeard. But again, he was keeping it a secret, the whole Davy D clan thing. So even if they knew that Blackbeard was actually his kid, that wouldn't necessarily... My answer to that is I don't know. It's a lot of talk to simply say I don't know. But maybe I won't write it off. That's an interesting thought, though, that Blackbeard maybe has Xebec's soul stuck inside of him via Big Mom, via something here at God Valley to save his life. And then later Storm, as I brought up earlier, saying what's so funny about all this is this is supposed to be Harold's flashback. And something I was bringing up in the review, my man, bro, thank you again. All these super chats still coming through. Look at this. Nakama, thank you very, very much coming through with this. Greatly appreciate that. I'm going to be getting all those in just a second. Something else I was going to bring up again with Harold, though, is I do feel like Harold, within this flashback, is going to realize the error of his ways. And is going to realize that siding with the world government was obviously the wrong decision. And that he maybe should have sided with Rox after finding out all the stuff that's going on in God Valley. But the extent to which he actually discovers, it's still kind of left up in the air. Harold, if he knows about a kid, and Blackbeard's running around that Harold doesn't die until Loki is an adult, Harold would know when Blackbeard gets taken in by Whitebeard. Harold knows the other members of the Rox Pirates. So he knows that relationship between them. Again, it's all connecting. This flashback is really amazing. I really think this is like a top 5 flashback of One Piece. The amount of lore that's being packed in here, but still tying in with the story of Elbaf, is just amazing. Absolutely, positively amazing. I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to keep going through these super chats. Hollow Monster Fox came through and said, I saw someone say the octopus or kraken thing due to the Davy Jones connection. 100%. I've been saying for a long time that I think that, because the whole thing is like he's got 3, presumably by the end of the series, right? The world's strongest Paramecia, the world's strongest Zone, the world's strongest Logia. He's got the strongest Logia with the Darkness Fruit. He's got the strongest Paramecia with the Earthquake Fruit. That realistically, by the end of the series, Blackbeard could have the strongest Zone. And the strongest Zone could either be Emu's actual devil fruit, right? Being that of the literal devil, which would be super strong and be a power jump for him at the end of the series. Or if he already has a Zone, and that Zone allows him to, take other devil fruits. Or the darkness fruit is actually a Zone that has Logia powers, which would be crazy, and that fruit actually ends up being a Kraken fruit, and that it's actually the soul inside of it is none other than Davy Jones, who was the Kraken, who obviously we've seen in Pirates of the Caribbean, is always, shown with the Kraken or the octopus face or the curse of Davy Jones. It's all coming together, nice and interesting. I do love the idea that the darkness fruit is actually a mythical Zone. I love that idea. But then would be even crazier if he does get an actual full-on Zone and not just a Logia, with that being the devil fruit, the actual devil fruit of Emus at the end of Final War. And then you've got a devil Kraken running around creating earthquakes and tsunamis, which is like, how do you beat that? That's as big of a final villain as you can get. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Man. That also connects to the Blackbeard octopus fruit with the 3 hearts thing, allowing him to have more devil fruits. Exactly. Oh, I feel like we've talked about that theory for so many years at this point now, too. So it would be really interesting if it comes to fruition. Fabrizio says, if Joy Boy was the epithet of Davy Jones, his inherited will may have begun after his kids. Kind of like Harold becoming good and Loki not understanding. That could be the contrast between the will of D. Interesting. I like that. I like that interpretation a lot, Fabrizio. Bryant Brawler came through with the super chat and said, Roger, Do we still think that Dragon has a devil fruit? Only reason is I ask maybe he gets it at God Valley. I do think absolutely Dragon has a devil fruit. If you're asking me whether or not I believe he has it currently, up in the air. I would say at this point probably not, but I don't know. But I would assume right now, him being a lowly Marine, I do not think he currently has a devil fruit. No. I do not think at this point in the story he currently has a devil fruit. Thank you, by the way, Deku Gamer coming through with the membership. Nakama, greatly appreciate that. And going back to what we were talking about with the Kraken, saying I think something like the Kraken fruit is more likely than him taking emus. Not for any plot reasons, but more just because I don't think Oda would have the last two fights be with the same fruit. Well, yes and no. Because it wouldn't technically be the same fruit. Because it would be Blackbeard implementing the fruit of emus with his power set. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't just be the same devil fruit, which would already be super strong, right? It would be utilizing that fruit in a way that's super scary in tandem with the fruits he already has. You know what I mean? Sotwick said, I'm seriously so glad you were not spoiled. This is a crazy chapter. Absolutely. And Mike Moore just donated and said, One Piece episode 1141. Katarina, Teach is special. Saturn, as is his bloodline. And Katarina Devon saying, oh, you knew about that. We actually brought that up during my live reaction to that episode. That Devon obviously knows the true story behind Blackbeard and who his father is. And again, his ship is called the Xebec. Like, it's the Saber of Xebec. So, like, obviously, the people on Blackbeard's crew, he's got loose lips. He knows. They know that he's a descendant. They know that he's from rocks. He might not even fully necessarily know the full extent to his lineage, but he knows at the very least that he's the child of rocks. Absolutely. Man, oh man. All right, let's get through more of these super chats. We still got a lot more to go. A lot more interesting things that are coming up here. Hold on. Let me bring these on up. Where did I leave off? Here we go. Let me find it. Joy Boy epithet. Here we go. Blackbeard's body is special because he's a Davy. It might be because of the family lineage that he could eat more devil fruits. Brought up that earlier. Milky, we talked about that earlier. Read that one out. Caesar D. Law saying perhaps Davy Jones gave out his initial D to those he beat back in a fight, but evolved into becoming his allies or his ideology. Oh, interesting. That you get like the mark of the D basically if he got you in a Davy back. That's kind of cool. It would be an interesting way to like implement all these characters and all these families that clearly are not connected into the will of D. I like that idea, actually. That's cool. Clack's also coming through saying, who would have thought that Blackbeard's dad would be a nicer guy than Shanks' dad, right? Pretty much everything I thought of was already brought up, but I just got to say, I love this chapter. Couldn't agree more, Clacks. Couldn't agree more. We have, I read Rob's earlier as well. Boo-hoo came through and said, I'm just saying, Oda finally brought back Foxy during Egghead. He gave the man a whole speaking panel about Vegapunk. It is very odd for a throwaway character. That is true. We did go back to Foxy. And again, the Davy back is important. But I've been saying this, right? I've been saying if it is canon to the manga, it is important to the overall story. So all of these people that have been saying Davy back sucks, it's such a horrible arc, it's not going to be important, you're being proven wrong in real time. In real time. Davy Jones and the Davy back and the... it's just great. It's just... You know what? Oh, I don't want to announce this just yet. But us bringing up all these connections and bringing up all this talk, do I want to leak it? Do I want to leak it to my chat today? I'm going to wait. I'm not going to leak it just yet. What I will say is this. I will say this. We are getting very close, and listen up. We are getting very, very close to the end of One Piece now, right? We're about to enter Final Saga. Lots of connections are coming up. Lots of characters are coming back. And part of me kind of wanted to wait until the end of the series to do my great reread of the manga. But with where we are currently in the story, and with us, like, you know, we're at like 600,000 subscribers now. There's a lot of new people who've joined the YouTube channel that are not caught up to One Piece, that I feel like this is maybe their right opportunity to jump in at the end. I think now might be the right time, or soon, not right now, obviously, a lot of stuff's going on right now, but soon might be the right time to get into doing a great reread. And maybe doing like a book club type thing of doing like a volume a week and reading through with the chat and going through each of the volumes and talking about it and discussing our favorite moments and how they connect to the series overall. I feel like now is the right time, because we are in the final saga and a lot of stuff is coming back. And I feel like I need a refresher before the ending of a lot of these characters and like their connections and some of their lines in the story. I do think we need to do this at some point. I do think we need a reread. So 7 more years of One Piece. I don't think it's going to be 7 more years. I think it's probably like 5. I think it's about 2 until we get to Final War. And I think it's about 5 to the end of the series. I think we're probably going to have like a relatively long Laugh Tale one. Yeah. Also, Clax is saying, there have been a lot of super chats, but did you get to Forever Nami's? Let me look. Yeah, we did. The Will of D being the Davy clan, like the Found Family thing. Yes, we got to that one. We did indeed get to that one. Yes, we did. We did indeed. Alcien, we read yours earlier. Let me see. What's another one? Let's see. We got... Hey! Hey! Thank you very much, 4D Cliff. Coming through with a $200 donation saying, Roger, I have an idea of who Blackbeard's mom or the wife of Davy G. Jones... Wait, what? Hold on. Wait. Let me read this again. Hold on. I have an idea of who Blackbeard's mom or the wife of Davy D. Jones or a separate character is. Are you aware of Mother Carey? If not, she's a supernatural figure who's a harbinger of storms, who personifies the cruel and threatens the seas. And she's stated to be Davy Jones' wife. Mother Carey? First off, massive thank you once again to that enormous super chat. And don't worry, I'm still getting to all of them. I'm still getting through all of them. I'm going in the order. But I want to pull this up. Mother Carey. All right, hold on. I'm going to remove this as well over in the corner too. Where is this? Top right. There we go. Okay, remove this over in the corner. Because also that member count's way off now because we got a bunch of members during the stream. Okay, Mother Carey. The cruel and threatening sea. Entity that was supposed to be a harbinger of storms and a similar character to Davy Jones, who may have been her husband. Here, she and Davy Jones are a fearsome couple responsible for storms and shipwrecks. Storm petrels, thought by sailors to be the souls of dead seamen, are Mother Carey's chickens, and giant petrels are known as Mother Carey's geese. In the Seaman's Manual, Mother Carey's children are defined as a name given by English sailors to birds, which are supposed to be forerunners for the storm. The Will of D will... Ooh! Woo! Wait a minute! You might be cooking. You might be cooking. They'll bring about a storm. You might actually be cooking. Hold on. You might be cooking here. Described... Hold on. Mother Carey is a Mother Nature-like figure, an angel of wild things, who favors the strong and wise, but destroys the weak. Loves you, but far less than she does your ways. It may not be you are not wise, and if it seem best, she will drop a tear and crush you into the dust. Mother Carey. Interesting. So like the mother of all storms. I mean, again, We still don't know the truth of what's going on with Emu, right? I still feel like there is an interesting thing going on with Emu backwards being Umi, which is the word for sea, and saying I'll be back, like Rock's coming back to Emu, and the connection to the stuff with the seas, that maybe there's a connection there. Or that maybe like Dragon's Fruit is that of Mother Carey's, right? The harbinger of storms, literal storms. There's a lot of potential for this. I'll be honest, I never knew the Mother Carey thing. I've never heard of that character before. I've never seen that character before. People are saying she was in Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't remember her in Pirates of the Caribbean. Let me see. It says there was a villain idea. No, you're thinking of Tia Dalma. No. That's not Mother Carey. That's not Mother Carey. It says there was speculation, though. There's lore. Look at this. Pirates of the Caribbean 6 villain idea. The legendary Mother Carey the Sea Witch. So, clearly people have thought about this in the past. Right, exactly. That was Calypso that you guys were thinking of. Right. Man, this is crazy, dude. I love this. This is seriously a really, really good theory. I love this. Thanks again for bringing that up. Appreciate it. Nakama! Thank you, by the way, to Ghetto Kid DJK for coming through with the membership. Thank you very much, Nakama. Appreciate that lore. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Wow, Pirates of the Caribbean. That is cool, man. I love that. Thank you for bringing that up again. That is a very, very, very neat idea. All right, real quick. Let me go away from the Mother Carey stuff real quick. I want to open this up. We got this. What is this? Zorro Activist. Boo-hoo. Okay. What else? Let me see more of these. Let me see more. Where did we leave off? Okay, so Boo-hoo is where we left off. So we still got a lot more. Here we go. This next one comes from Arnav, saying, Roger, missed most of your review, but I wanted to ask this speculation of you, unless somebody already asked this. Do we think the bloodline of the Davy clan is the reason that Blackbeard can use 2 devil fruits? Yes, we've brought that up multiple occasions during today's stream, but I appreciate you coming through with the super chat anyway, Arnav. Thank you very much. Nakama, thank you. We have Eno Stem Productions saying, if you look at the panel with Teach, look around his neck. Okay. So this is 6. Oh, wait, what? On page 16 and 17. Wait a minute. Oh no, those are just wrinkles. So I'm sorry. I read this and then I looked at the panel and then I connected it. Let me read this out for everybody who doesn't know what we're talking about. Enostem said, panel with Teach. Around his neck, it looks like there are 2 arms with hands. If he has 4 arms with 2 small ones around his neck and 2 main arms that are handcuffed, maybe he has an additional soul or another body inside of him. Maybe that's how he eats 2 devil fruits. So I see exactly what you're talking about. It does kind of look like the connective of 2 tiny arms, but no, that is the wrinkles around his clothes. Those are indeed wrinkles around his clothes. Yeah. I see why you would think that would be 2 connecting little arms holding, though, around his neck. Yeah. I do think it's just clothing wrinkles. But that was an interesting thing to spot, because I never would have spotted that in a million years. Very, very, very interesting. We have Stefan Dog coming through, by the way, saying it's cool to see that Dragon will save Shanks here, knowing that he will eventually help his son Luffy later in the story in Fuchsia Village. Again, how much of that was meant to happen is my question, right? Like, was Shanks told by was Shanks told by Dragon to go look after Luffy? Right? Like, we always just assumed, oh, Shanks shows up in the village and, oh, Luffy looks up to him and he's this cool guy that visits. But maybe was that something that Dragon and Shanks planned? I could see a world in which that could still be the case. Which I'm sure a lot of people would not like that retcon, but I could see a world in which he ends up doing that. You know? Bryant Brawler, man, some of you guys are just super chatting multiple times. Goodness gracious. Thank you very much. Bryant Brawler coming through saying, I'm really interested to see how all the Straw Hats react to this flashback, especially Robin. Right, because again, the weird thing is, this is only being told to the people that are there with Loki and the new giant pirates with Haruden. Once people end up finding out all of this, once the actual main Straw Hats that are back on the, well, not the other main, they're not the main Straw Hats. The main Straw Hats are down here with Loki. But I mean the other Straw Hats, the non-Alabasta Straw Hats. When they find out and they hear this whole story and this whole thing gets relayed, that's going to be wild. Also, how are they going to do that? How do you relay all the information that's in the story? Because I'm sure Luffy's not fully paying attention to all this. It's certainly been longer than 3 minutes. There's a lot of details here. There's a lot of stuff that's got to connect. I'm sure the big things he's going to pick up on. Like, wow, that lady Shakky from the bar was actually like Boa's ancestor or something like that. Like, there's things that could happen that I think will be brought up, but I'm wondering, yeah, how much of this actually fully gets relayed. I could also see a world in which during this whole flashback, Luffy is asleep and doesn't hear a single word. Absolutely. I could totally see a world in which he's just asleep and doesn't hear a single word. Exactly. Oh, man, this is such a good chapter, man. This is seriously so good. And I agree. I'm especially excited to see, like, Robin's reaction to all this. I think that could be really cool. Let me keep reading. Oh, Mike Moore, I read that one already about Teach being special. Flipdo super chatted and said Davy Jones was the captain of the Flying Dutchman, but in real-world history, that was actually Vanderdecken. So what if the D is Decken from the first generation of Vanderdecken? All right, now people are overcooking. Bro, Vanderdecken? Vanderdecken? I mean, look, we wouldn't have said that the Foxy arc would have been important too, but Vanderdecken? The D standing for Decken and Vanderdecken is kind of crazy. But, look, never say never at this point in the series. And Forever Nami super chatting again, yeah, bringing up what we brought up earlier, exactly, the potential of maybe Emu being Carrie and being like the former wife of Davy Jones or Joy Boy. Totally. That would actually be crazy. What if Emu was originally... No, I'm overcooking. I was gonna say something stupid. I'm overcooking. Don't even worry about what I was gonna say. Don't worry about it. Fabrizio coming through. Here we go. Fabrizio coming through. Thank you, by the way, to Tigray for gifting a membership. Nakama, greatly appreciate you. Thank you. Fabrizio coming through saying Blackbeard is for sure Luffy's final opponent now, but I'll take it one step further. I don't think Luffy's gonna fight Emu at all. I think that's going to be Kobe's final opponent. And that Dragon versus Garling and Sabo versus Akainu, there's no need for the Straw Hats to backtrack to Marijoa. Okay, you're cooking with Dragon Garling, because I've been saying that for years. You're cooking with Sabo Akainu, because you guys know this. I'm Team Ska all the way. Sabo Akainu is definitely happening. End of series. I don't think Kobe would be the fight against Emu. I feel like now with everything being set up in the story, it would be Blackbeard, right? I mean, Rock straight up said, I'm coming back for you. I'll be back. So I kind of feel like that would be Blackbeard. That Blackbeard swoops in at the end of everything while Emu is weak and takes down Emu. That's kind of what I feel happens there, right? Because Blackbeard's not here on Elbaf. We don't know where the heck Blackbeard is right now. Blackbeard's potentially on his way to Wano country. Blackbeard could be off some other place. He's amassing people that could read the poneglyphs. We now know that Moria Wazukoski could also maybe have read the poneglyphs. Yeah, so I don't necessarily think that Kobe would be the one to fight Emu. I think Kobe could definitely fight like a major marine character, but I don't think it would be Emu. Yeah, that would be really wild. Also, Flipdo adding to the thing saying, where was this? You were adding to your conversation about the thing with, hold on. Man, the chat's moving quick. I'm like trying to scroll up, but there's so much stuff here. Flipdo was talking about the thing with Davy Jones and Vanderdecken. Oh, and adding this, that Davy Jones could have been a fishman, and that would ultimately make sense, and then the potential connection to Decken. Now, that I won't say no to. The idea that Davy Jones could have maybe been a fishman is interesting. I don't hate that idea. And that the bloodline over 800 years has been diluted, which is why, like, Teach and why... Oh, but... that would be the 3 heart thing. If he was, and over the years, and he still has... Like, he's quite literally... Wait a minute. if it's not like a mythical Kraken type thing, and it was, the Vanderdecken thing I think is silly, but I will say the idea of Davy Jones literally having been an octopus and having the 3 hearts, and the descendants of his clan for 800 years, right, having had the multiple hearts, that is actually kind of interesting. I don't hate that idea, because over the course of 800 years, if they're having kids with other people and he's no longer a fishman, of course the fishman traits will start to go away. So you wouldn't necessarily look like a fishman. But I don't hate the idea that he maybe could have been a fishman. Also, never forget the first fishman we ever saw was an octopus, being Hachi. That's true. Interesting. I won't throw out that idea. I still don't think Vanderdecken's related, though. I just don't think that's the case. Brian Carter came through and said, how many chapters do you think until we start God Valley? I want to say a couple chapters at least. I think it's next chapter. I think this is it. I think next chapter is God Valley. For sure. No doubt about it. God Valley's next chapter. Now, as for how long we stay in God Valley, thank you, by the way, to Dis Danny coming through with the membership. Nakama, appreciate you. As for how long we stay in God Valley, I would say 3 or 4. I would say 3 or 4. I don't think it's going to be super long, but I do think we need to see resolution of the stuff with Rocks. We need to see the interactions with Rocks and Garp and Roger. We got to see some good fights. But we don't really need to see clashes, because we've already seen a lot of one side of God Valley now with the actual hunt from Kuma's flashback. With Ivankov and Ginny and Kuma and Big Mom and the Devil Fruit, we've seen that already, so there'd be no need to go over that again. But I think a lot of the Roger, Garp, Rocks team-ups we would need to see. And how that connects and how Dragon gets out of here. We probably need to see what's going to make Dragon turn. We need to see all this stuff being reported. Morgan's sending all this stuff back. We need to see God Valley being wiped out. We need to see what happens to Rocks. We need to see how Shanks and Shamrock get out of there. There is a lot of information. Even this minor thing that was brought up at the very end of the chapter, right? With you here, Gunko, we might win a trophy with the family competition. How we got that reveal in the SBS of Gunko's family, and Brooke's relation to Gunko's family, and how that's going to come into play in the ending. It's a lot of cool stuff that can come out of this. Yeah. But I do think we're going to probably be here for a while. Yep, and we still got to see Harold's death and the horns, but I don't think that's going to happen during God Valley. I think that's going to happen after God Valley. Like, I think we'll probably get at least 3 or 4 chapters of God Valley proper. Like, I think where we are now, I think the flashback goes to the end of the year, is my guess. Because if we're not on break, let me see this real quick. Let me open this up. Escape full screen. We're not on break next week. It's probably going to go on break the week after, right? So 14th, 28th, 5th, and 12th. It brings us into October. God Valley. Assuming a break week after that. 19th. Okay, so then the 26th, the 2nd. Yeah, I think with like 3 or 4 afterwards of the fallout in Elbaf, I do think like late November, early December is probably when we're out of the flashback. Yeah. If I had to guess, I think late November, early December. Because then that way, we can end the year with like some big revelation in Elbaf proper of like having found out the truth about what happened in God Valley and the Stryads climbing back up with Loki. We can end the year with like a really good moment of Loki and Haruden all standing together with Luffy and with Zoro and with Sanji and with Gaban and going face to face against, you know, Gunko and Summers and all the rest of them and clearing out the final fights of Elbaf. Yeah. I don't think we're out of Elbaf end of this year though. Like I think we're still in Elbaf until minimum summer next year. There's just too much other stuff like left in play, right? Too many other things. Even if it is just like a couple fights, I don't see a world in which we're out of it by at the earliest summer next year. I just don't see it happening. I think there's a lot of Elbaf still left to go. I do think, and I've said this before, I do think by the end of next year, we'll be in Final War. Full stop. I think full stop, end of next year, we are in Final War. I think we're actually well into Final War by the end of next year. Because again, I think Elbaf and all these connections and all the stuff with the Celestial Dragons, it's tying directly into Final War. So I do fully 110% believe Final War and the next year, we will be there. Yeah, 100%. No doubt about it. I do not see a world in which Elbaf goes to end of next year. I think it'll be wrapped up by like summer. But again, there's still a lot to go through here. And I still think Elbaf can kind of ease into Final War in a way that people aren't necessarily expecting. I want to read this out again really quickly because we still got more super chats that I've been missing. We have one from Mike Moore saying, FYI, rent-free in my head is still this thing that you're defending that Sanji has conquerors. He does. Yeah, he does. I will not speak on it. I will not tell you. But I will say I have no doubt Sanji has conquerors haki. And that it will awaken at some point within the story. And that Sanji is going to be closer to Zoro's power level than people are understanding. Yes. I stand by that. I will always stand by that. And that's fine. And I will not reveal my source. I won't reveal my source. I'm taking it to Davy Jones' locker, man. Not saying why. Not saying how I know, but I'm saying I know. We've got Ink Fight Studios saying, I'm thoroughly convinced that Dragon put Shanks in the chest. And it's where he got his wind fruit. Interesting. You think he took the chest with the storm fruit? I love that idea, actually. Ink Fight, that's a really, really, really good idea. I love that. Yeah, because we know there's multiple devil fruits. We know about the pawpaw fruit. We know about the fish one. Interesting. I don't hate that, Ink Fight. That's good. Joker's Fallen One also super chatted and said, one thing that's brought me full circle is that Rox tipped his hand to Emu by telling him he's a fan of Davy Jones. That then made Emu set his sights on Rox's life and waited him to reveal his life and homeland. So Rox basically flipping everything and not waiting until this moment to tell him. Emu, yeah, I do wonder though. Emu's got to know, right? Emu's got to know. Emu's got to know that he's a descendant of Davy Jones. No doubt in my mind. He was in the throne room. He was surprised. There's no doubt in my mind that Emu knows. Because again, he even brings up in that panel with Harold, like what was the exact line? Let me look this up. Where is this line? This is the name of a clan the world government has long tried to cover up. The descendants of the legendary pirate Davy D. Jones. We took root in the criminal underworld and continue to eke out a living today. Right. So again, they know about the Davy clan, for sure. 110% they know about him. Huh. I am excited to see how this is all going to connect, though. We've got Keanu coming through with a super chat saying, Shanks speaking to the Gorosei about a certain pirate was likely spilling the beans on Blackbeard being Davy. I do not think that it is Shamrock. Oh, you think the guy that was talking to the Gorosei back in the Reverie was actually Shanks and not Shamrock? Why would he do that, though? Why would Shanks go to the Gorosei and say, hey, I know the truth about Blackbeard being Davy? Like, what would he gain from that, other than their trust slightly, to let him do what he needs to do in the background? I feel like it's got to be Shamrock, right? Hasn't it already been confirmed that it was Shamrock?
There'll be plenty of time for work later.
Also, Brian Carter said, you already read it correctly. I meant to say staying in God Valley. Sorry for the typo. But also, who do you think Garling fought in God Valley? I mean, I don't think Garling in God Valley is fighting Dragon, but I think Garling and Dragon is I think it is both of their final opponents. I think is Garling and Dragon. I think the father of Luffy versus the father of Shanks, and being the Revolutionary Army versus the guy that did everything for the world government to be, I feel like that is coming to a head. Especially him being granted one of the powers of the Gorosei. Like, he's going to be super strong now. So, yeah. Garling, I think for sure, is going to fight Dragon at the end. I do like the idea that Lucky98 brought up that maybe Garling versus Rayleigh could happen at God Valley, fighting over Shakky. I kind of like that idea because I think Garling at this time and Rayleigh at this time are probably pretty evenly leveled, right? Second in command of the God Knights at this point. Or no, he is commander of the God Knights at this point, right? So versus the second in command of the Pirate King. Rayleigh versus Garling for Shakky, I think could actually be really cool. I love that idea. Yeah, I really like that a lot. Fighting over Shakky and then Shakky being like, oh, he does actually love me. She said, come and get me. I do like that. And it's like his way of showing that he loves her without having to fawn over her like all these other simps. I like that. I actually like that a lot. I gotta say, Rayleigh stocks have skyrocketed during this arc. Like how I've always thought highly of Rayleigh, but the way that Rayleigh has treated the Shakky situation and the respect that I've lost for a lot of these characters for just completely fawning over her and just doing whatever they can for her because they just think she's the most beautiful girl in the world. I like the fact that Rayleigh is like still kind of up in the air. Obviously, he cares for her. Like he brought up in that chapter, last chapter with Roger, where he was like, dude, of course I care for her. Of course I want to be for her. But like, I'm not going to slob over her like everybody else. I love it. Rayleigh's awesome, man. I love Rayleigh. King Waffle also super chatted and said, if Davy Jones was a fishman, his tragedy could be collecting too many devil fruits, and that the curse potentially overpowered his fishman abilities and he drowned. This might happen at the end of the second world when the world sinks. I like that idea. I really like that a lot. Yeah, I like that idea that he was basically too careless and was having a bunch of devil fruits and the curse of the sea got him and he drowned. We still haven't seen a character drown. I've been saying since back when I started my YouTube channel, I think it's going to be Akainu being the lava fruit and then creating an island and building new marine fort on him by the ending. But I like the idea of it being Davy Jones. As we talk through it, I do really love the idea that Davy D. Jones is one and the same with Joy Boy. That they are the same person. I do really like that. And then all the connections between them and the descendant being, like the actual blood descendant being Blackbeard, the will descendant being Luffy, Dragon being the one to save a lot of these characters here, Shanks, like it's all coming together in a really unique and interesting way. I'm loving it. Also, Rob is saying Roger stocks are dropping like bricks during this. Roger's going to do something cool, though. I feel like Roger has been a little goofy throughout the course of the story arc, but we've seen him do amazing things. I mean, let's not just have the recency bias kick in. This is still the man who became Pirate King. This is still the man who discovered Laugh Tale. At the end of the day, Roger is still Goldie Roger. We got to put respect on his name, of course. Of course. Roger, it seems that Gunko's family name was also spotted in the live action. Was it now? The Man-Mayer family thing? Was that brought up? Oh yeah, Rob said in the Netflix live action series in the Opera House in Logtown, it said the hero of the Marines, and there's a logo with the word Man-Mayer on it. Oh. Interesting. Well, again, we know the people making the One Piece live action, they know their stuff. We know they know their stuff. This Danny said, One Piece fans jump ship so easy with different characters, they aren't even loyal. I'm loyal to Gold D. Roger. I'll always be loyal to Gold D. Roger. My name is Roger, for God's sake, all right? I still think Roger is cool. I'm not going to let his antics during this story arc, I'm not going to let that color my judgment of Roger. He is still Roger. Roger will defend Roger forever, of course, of course. I just think he was being goofy with Shakky, but that doesn't mean I don't love Roger. Roger's great, man. Yeah. And also, yes, DGK, we have heard and talked about the story about the Quetzalcoatl zone with the storms and everything like that. We have heard that theory. I still think, going back to the stuff with the mural even, all those chapters ago, I feel like the mural in some way, when we come back to that, which of course we will, by the end of Elbaf, we have to go back to that mural. In some way, I think it's going to be made even clearer by the end of God Valley. A lot of the stuff that was on that mural, if that makes sense. I don't know what exactly, but I do feel like at least one or two of those things that was teased and set up with that mural, I think it's going to come to a head by the end of this God Valley thing. I do. Moth Guy, by the way. Thank you, by the way, Moth Guy. Coming through with the super chat saying, ever since Thriller Bark may be God Valley, do you think that maybe Kaido learned to float Onigashima from Shakky, maybe moving God Valley? Interesting. You think Shakky is actually strong enough to lift all of God Valley into the air and hide it from the rest of the world? I do also wonder, because obviously Shakky, we had Strong World. We had the movie Strong World. I am wondering if by Final War, Shakky comes into play again. If Shakky actually is still alive in the world of One Piece and manages to show up in Final War, that would be crazy. The Thriller Bark connections are also interesting too. Again, the stuff with Brook, the stuff with that Man Mayer family, the stuff with the connections there, the stuff with Moria, the stuff with the Kozuki clan, Ryuma being there in Thriller Bark, a lot of these Rocks pirates' corpses being there in Thriller Bark. I don't know. That would be kind of interesting though if, yeah, Shakky like lifted the island, put it onto a raft or something, and it became Thriller Bark. That would be weird. That would be very weird. One Piece is always goofy at first and then gets serious. Of course, that's the beauty of One Piece. Of course. Of course. Mike Moore also said, God Valley bingo card, Roger getting Shanks in a chest, and Dragon getting his fruit in some kind of mix-up. Yeah, I think that is something that I think a lot of us are predicting as well, Mike Moore. Definitely agree. It says, Dragon... Oh, no, I read that wrong. Hold on. Second one. Garling scarring Whitebeard. Oh, of course that's got to happen. Because Whitebeard said to Shanks, it reminds me of him. Ooh, that does have to happen here. I love that, love that. Garling, dude, Garling, that's going to be, if you see a chapter where Whitebeard's fighting Garling, Garling scars Whitebeard, and then Rayleigh comes in and kicks him in the face, bro. Dude, the stuff we're about to get is going to be so good. The fights we're about to get, the clashes we're about to get, the character connections we're about to get. Ooh, I love that. I love that, I love that, I love that. And then finally, Xebec telling Roger about the One Piece and the history of the world. I could definitely see a situation in which something leads him to go to Lodestar to then eventually discover the truth about the Poneglyphs and discover the One Piece. That Rox tells something to Roger. I could totally see that happen. I could definitely see that happen, for sure. And then finally, the introduction of Mosa. Well, yeah, we're going to know, I mean, by the end of this flashback, I'm also sure we're going to know who Mosa is, for sure. That someone's going to make the connection like, oh, you know, that person that's been talking to you this whole time in secret is probably this person. And then Loki's like, wait, what? Like, you know, and then you get that, like, mix-up. I could see that happening, for sure. The Mosa reveal is definitely happening soon. Yeah. Dude, this chapter has just really been amazing. Absolutely, positively amazing. Also, Clack said, by the way, are we going to watch the anime episode another day? Yes. So we're not going to watch the anime episode on Twitch today, mostly because I have a lot of stuff I have to finish before I leave on Wednesday. I have a lot of videos I got to record, a lot of stuff I got to pre-record. So we will not be live with the anime episode after the stream on Twitch like we normally are. But what I will say to people is that when I get back, because again, I'm probably going to have to pre-record my reaction to 1160. I will probably upload that as a video, and then when I get back during the next break week, we'll probably do a catch-up anime episode stream. That's probably going to be the case. Yeah. That's going to be the case. I think we're going to do like a major catch-up stream when I get back, watching a bunch of the episodes, and then that'll be good. Yeah. Because I feel like when we did the catch-up stream last time, that worked out pretty well. And I still got to test out that stuff with the filter. I feel like, again, the copyright thing that got me off the last one was the audio. It wasn't the filter. So I do think if I mute the audio, we'll be fine if we watch it. And then again, I can upload that over to the Vault channel afterwards, and members can watch it afterwards, and that'll be great. Yeah. Yeah. This was a great chapter, man. All right, I think we're calling it quits now. We've been going for almost 2 hours talking about this chapter. Hour and 40 minutes just on one manga chapter alone. But there was a lot of stuff to discuss. Once again, I got to say thank you to everybody who's been here in the live stream today. Also, thank you, by the way. I missed one super chat coming in here. I missed one. Zaro Activist pointed out that Oda has changed from 6 prize chests to 9 on 1095. There are now 9 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. with the prize chests. Good to bring up. Also, no worries about missing the anime episode today. Hype chapters always bring in hype theories and discussion. Of course, absolutely. Once again, thank you again to everyone who's been tuning in. This has been a phenomenal stream. Of course, the full VOD will be uploaded later. And again, I want to give a special shout out. If you want to have your voice heard, we are currently in the process of doing this year's annual One Piece popularity poll. Make sure to join the Discord, get your votes in the Discord, read all the rules, of course. You'll be granted the voter access to the Discord, and then we're going to be doing a giant live stream at some point, either at the end of September or early October, going over all the results of the popularity poll. Also, King Waffle, thank you for bringing this up, saying the Nakama highlights still aren't working. So I have talked to my partner manager about that. Apparently, for people who are re-upping the membership highlight messages, they only happen once a month. And it apparently only happens if you have not sent an earlier message. And because it was activated over the course of the last month, it still hasn't ticked over. I have been told that apparently the member message Nakama question thing will kick in at the beginning of the next full month, which is going to be, I believe, like the 20th or so of September. So not this upcoming chapter, but the one that's going to be afterwards. That should be when you'll start to see the ticks come back up for the member messages. And that when you re-up your membership, the Nakama question will highlight alongside it. It'll give you the option to send a message alongside the renewal of your membership. And that's when it'll come through. Yeah. So again, it is absolutely instated. But because a lot of you are already members and you haven't clicked the little thing to like send a re-up message yet, that's how you get your message to go through. But we were looking into that a lot because I was like, what is happening? I want to have that implemented at some point. So basically, the way it will work, or it should work, as I've been told, is that when you see super chats in the live chat, essentially when you also see a member join, there will be a message that you can pair alongside with your member message, and then you could submit your question there. Yeah. But I'm sorry, I know that has been very confusing. We were also testing out a bunch of different features here on YouTube with the vertical stuff, and so there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening. But no, that is for sure 100% working, enabled. You guys will be able to do it. But again, I think you might have to wait until your next membership renewal, but it is, yeah, it's once a month, exactly. It'll be once a month for people that are at the Nakama tier. And I actually believe it's enabled for everybody alongside their member messages. So like people that are joining today, again, the lowest member tier is the Mammoth Boys tier. I believe you can also submit questions or messages alongside your member messages, and I should be able to read them in chat. Yeah. So make sure to take advantage of that. Again, take advantage. If you're a member, take advantage of the Discord server. If you're not a member, still make sure to join the Discord server and vote for the popularity poll. And again, if you're not already, if you made it all the way through this, please be sure to subscribe because I bring you guys my live reactions to each new One Piece manga chapter every single week. I will, of course, be back next week with my thoughts on One Piece 1160. Again, I can't say where I'm going just yet, but I will be out of town. So expect a video from me for the next chapter instead of a live reaction, live stream for the next chapter. And also, yes, I see Clack saying, yes, touch base also is something you get access to with the memberships as well. So there you go. Yeah, there you go. So you also get access to my bi-weekly podcast, which I also got to go record. So thank you once again, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you again to all the amazing super chats, all the memberships, all the great discussion, all these theories. This was a blast. I'll be back in 1 week with another chapter of One Piece. Like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Nakama! Take care, everybody. Have a lovely Sunday afternoon. Incredible, incredible chapter this week. Man, really, really good stuff. Whew!